Welcome back. Now, the effects of drought in the country is affecting each and every person from the northern part of Kenya to coast to western, up to here in the Nairobi Central Business District. Everybody's feeling the heat of hunger. But even that, there is that aspect of human rights. How is drought and human rights connected? Having food is a human right. But to a situation where now there is none, human rights is at stake. And that is why I have got Commissioner of Kenya Commission on Human Rights, Honorable Sara, Bonaya, to help us talk about issues with the drought and human rights. Mheshimiwa, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Okay, thank you.
Karibu sana. The issue of drought and human rights. Let's start where we should. It's a big problem right now, but it all boils down to the effects of climate change.
Okay.
Does that worry you?
Yeah, it does. It is actually an effect of climate change,
yes,
which is a global phenomena,
yes,
that is being experienced throughout the world. And as a country, we need to prepare seriously, because it's not an issue of, it's not like the usual drought we are getting. The severity has increased,
yes,
and the impact has also increased. And as it is, it's not only about food, it's about the whole of livelihood for those
at stake. Exactly.
Yes, everything else is at stake. Anything on human rights, health, education, food security, right to water, all the rights actually overall are being affected unless emergency interventions are undertaken. Yes.
You work with this commission,
yeah,
and I'm so sure the commission has traversed the country.
Yes.
Kindly give me a picture of how the situation is. Probably for us here in Nairobi in the studio, we might not get 100% feel of what the situation is on the ground.
Yes.
What is the correct picture?
Okay.
Ukienda mashinani, what they say kwa ground vitu ni different.
Yes. Yes, for my commission,
yes,
Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, has actually done quite a number of visits to the affected areas. And personally, I've been to Marsabit about a week or two ago, where I was lucky enough to attend the county emergency response committee that is dealing with that. And the whole of the Asal area, especially,
yes,
I think the situation is serious and it's very bad. And every aspect is across all sectors, and all the rights are violated. Yes, and I feel the government, because even in the beginning, the drought has become, cyclic, and it's been there. Yeah. We should have had better planning. Yeah.
Better planning, because when you talk of better planning, that again boils down to us as Kenyans.
Yes.
Because right now it's a season, it's a hot season.
Yes.
And some would argue that it's the worst in some areas in 40 years.
Yes.
But let's go specifically to Marsabit.
Yes.
A number of students or pupils are not going to school right now.
Yes.
How is KNCHR going to make sure that this is completely changed, even though the drought is still here with us?
Yes. Yes, we can't look at education in isolation.
Exactly.
These are the same families that cannot afford food. They're the same ones who have migrated because they lost their livelihood, where they used to practice pastoralism. They have completely lost their herds. And they have moved away from their traditional areas of where they were taking care of their livelihood.
Yes.
They have no access to health care, so there's no water. So that actually uproots the whole family, including the school child.
Yeah.
And especially in schools, there has been no supply of food ration to the schools. So one factor that was keeping children in school was food. Yeah, especially for the nursery, the school feeding program.
Yes.
That doesn't exist now from our assessment. But partners have come in, and through different interventions, they have tried to assist.
Has this changed any situation?
No, the situation is too bad. I mean, it's very serious. Most of the schools, because of the Prior to this drought, there has been conflict in Marsabit, as we all know.
Exactly.
We also had the locust invasion in many parts of our country. And in the pastoralist areas, the pasture was completely destroyed. And the environment itself was completely affected. So school children actually, and other vulnerable groups like the elderly, the disabled, expectant mothers, the under fives, especially because of the nutritional factors, having bigger challenges among others. Yes.
Then it would mean that now community-based organizations are now coming in at this particular point to avert the situation. But what is the government's role, the national government? What is the national government's intervention to this effect?
Yeah, national government has a bigger responsibility, and through the office of the president, they have the special unit that deals with the disasters and the issues like drought. And I think that this time the new government has taken up the challenge, and they have instructed the county government, both at through the governor's office and the county commissioner. They have been instructed actually to work hand in hand and convene all the other stakeholders so that they have one basket from which they'll intervene, setting priorities, and as well as avoiding overlap in the activities, and also assessing household needs as they respond, so that at least households now can be supported adequately. But the challenge here now is the integrity of the intervention. That we haven't seen yet, but the planning process has gone on very well. We also sit on the county steering group that is working on the disaster or the drought issue. So the bigger challenge now is the integrity of the implementation of the activities that have been planned. And part of that is cash transfer to affected communities. Literally everybody is affected because there is the pastoralist community, there is the urban poor population. So everybody is affected. And the issue of food relief that used to be traditionally put in place now, because of the many factors that is involved, that most of the communities feel that most of the foods do not get to the site and to the relevant people, so they would prefer cash transfer because the needs are also varied.
Because I think a week ago, some of the communities or some of the leaders talked of cash transfer as opposed to food distribution. But the issue is now the frequency of the cash transfer. There's no stability in that. You'd find that it would come in a week, it will take another 2 or 3 months. There is no, it's unpredictable.
It is.
Have you addressed this?
In the meetings which the county government in Marsabit have had. They have said let's assess monthly family household needs, and all the stakeholders now should partner and ensure there is no gap, but there is no overlap, and the frequency also is improved. Unlike before, where some groups were giving 2,500, some were giving 3,000. So an estimate of, let's say, 20,000 as being an average need per family should be sustained. That was what was agreed upon. Whether the similar amount of resource can be mobilized or not is another issue. But we said if you are giving 2,500 in 3 months, it doesn't help at all.
That's a lot. That's little.
That's
little
so
based on
it's
the situation
peanut.
on the ground.
So we said let's at least have average household need and sustain it for the next 6 months, which is considered to be a red alert. So before the next rain hopefully comes.
Tell us. From the media reports, or even from the ground, we are told that people are now forced to consume wild fruits. Which is quite detrimental to our health. How bad is the situation? In terms of food relief, the president released a consignment a few weeks ago. That has since stopped. So what is the next step forward now?
I think the wild fruit you are talking about. Those are areas that are predominantly pastoralist, and the ecosystem is desert situation. So for those who can get the wild fruit, they're even lucky. because I don't know how the wild fruit can even be available to them. Because yes, a few plants that are resistant to drought can come up, but that is negligible. It's not something to be relied upon. So the logistics involved in transporting this food relief, the administration of the process, those are all very offering big challenges. So, and the consistency as well, and also the quality of food. Most of the under fives, the expectant mothers, the nursing mothers, you give out maize, which is just one class of food, one group of, offers the one nutrient, that is starch. They lack protein, they lack vitamins. So malnutrition is also a major issue because they don't have the many types of food groups that they are supposed to have. So it's inadequate. There is no balance in nutritional value.
I want to take a break, but when we come back, I would like us to connect the two. How drought and human rights are connected, and one is violating the other. And as a commission, what is your core mandate at this particular time specifically to help the needy and even these vulnerable people, at least to have their lives saved during this trying moment? Commissioner, let's take a break, and when we come back, we still have got so much more after this. And welcome back. Now we are still talking matters to do with the drought and the situation in the country. And in studio I have got Honorable Sara Bonaya, who is a commissioner with the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. Now, let's talk about the issue of drought and human rights. How are these two joined? How are they connected?
Thank you, Victor. I think these two issues are both very broad in nature. Human right is also very broad. It's cross-cutting in all sectors because the Constitution guarantees all Kenyans right to everything in the Constitution. So right to food, right to shelter, right to education, right to justice, right to economic right. Article 43 of the Constitution guarantees you of so many rights, especially for the vulnerable groups who cannot safeguard their own rights and who depends on duty bearers and those responsible for governance and provision of quality care and services. So human rights, I've said, is very broad. And the impact of drought is also very broad. We cannot tie it to education, we cannot tie it to health, we cannot tie it to housing. It covers the whole human livelihood. It covers all aspects of an individual, because in that situation you lose your livelihood, others even lose their life. And right now in those areas which are deeply affected, there is a loss of life. I know the media has not highlighted that, but because of nutritional deficiencies, people are dying of preventable causes. Very minor issues are bringing death, things like malaria, common cold. Without proper nutrition, you are brought down very easily. So though we are not tying it to drought directly, that people have died of hunger, people are dying of very minor causes, especially the elderly, pregnant women, the under 5. So health is affected. Education, families have been displaced. Families have no income. Families, are moving all over looking for pasture and livelihood elsewhere. And they have to move with their children. meaning they are removed out of school. For those in boarding, we don't have adequate facilitation for them to remain. I'm told ministries of education have not, or the relevant partners have not given adequate food. So children have been noted, especially the ECD, the nursery school ones. If there is no food, then they just go back home. Some can't even walk to school because of malnutrition.
It's bad.
The health risks involved. So the housing, like for Marsabit, if you can remember, we had serious conflict where communities were displaced. The same communities who were displaced have not been resettled. So compounding the impact of conflict, now we have the impact of drought. And it becomes a multiple tragedy.
The entire northern region.
Yes, it becomes, because they have always had the twin disasters of conflict and drought going hand in hand. So they have really been affected. And Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, being one of the independent commissions established under the 2010 Constitution, has a broad mandate of promoting and protecting human rights in the country. And our role is not implementation, but our role directly implementing, through interventions, like giving food and stuff. But our role is mainly advocacy, training to the relevant agencies, both government and private sector. And we protect human rights through maybe public interest litigation, where we go to court on behalf of communities. And we also monitor compliance of human rights through organization in terms of equity in employment, in opportunities, and inclusivity. We ensure that human rights, labor rights, all these rights, we ensure that there's compliance.
And all these things, all these mandates that under Kenya Commission on Human Rights, at this particular point, they are all been affected.
Yes, all the rights have been affected. For the communities that are affected, their rights have been compromised. And it is the responsibility of the government to have done proper assessment, mitigating the I call it disaster. Then prepare to handle that disaster, give adequate response, and handle the recovery process of trying to get the community to their normalcy. But we hope the committees that has been entrusted with the responsibility will do due process, and they will be supported by all the stakeholders and partners, because the problem is bigger than what we are seeing actually. It's affecting even wildlife, animals, animal feeds. As we talk of human feed and human needs, the animals are also equally affected. And they are the source of revenue that was sustaining the community.
Even as that is happening, you can even take a look at the pictures you see on the television. The situation is that bad. The dry landscape, human and wildlife is completely affected. But as a commission, what is now your immediate role at this particular point, and probably the long term?
As a commission, our immediate role, as I've told you, we have actually anchored ourselves into the planning process of the interventions that partners are putting in place. And we are ensuring that especially the vulnerable communities are getting the support they require, not from our pockets, but not from our institution, but from the basket that has been put in place. And our role is also to engage partners and duty bearers. Where we see there is a gap, we write to them. We have the reporting obligation, both to the national and international community. So we engage partners and duty bearers where we feel there are gaps. And where there are policy gaps also, we intervene to ensure there is that gap is actually, if the policy gaps are catered for, the legislative gaps are catered for, so that we are not looking just at this season. We look, we have a vision to ensure all sectors are well prepared, and they are not, the people are not marginalized as they have always been done, because as you know, this drought has been cyclic. And in the last regime, the drought has been listed as a disaster.
Yes.
It was declared as a national disaster. The current regime hasn't done that.
Yeah,
so we are not yet. We don't understand why. Lives are being lost, livelihoods are being lost, and there's a big challenge for the whole of the North, and both in the urban and the rural setup. So we urge the government actually to declare drought as a national disaster as urgently, because so many rights are being violated. Plus also coming in with the necessary support to kickstart all the sectors that have been affected.
But Commissioner, when you look at, you've correctly put it, but there's aspect of policy framework and action. What is the missing gap?
Yeah, we have very many policies that are taking, just on our shelves. We have some of the most beautiful. But
now the action bit of it is now where the problem is.
So I am saying that we have a lot of policy, many policies on so many sectors.
Exactly.
But implementation and the integrity of the implementation is the issue. And partly we all know the level of corruption that has been experienced in our management and governance. So that's an area where we need to tackle and be able to bridge the gap, because we have a lot of pilferage of finances, and like even in relief effort, there's a lot that goes on in the logistics, in the administration, in distribution. So there's a lot of gaps in integrity, and as far as the implementation process is concerned. So we need serious monitoring process to ensure that the needy people get what they are entitled to be able to save life. So we are talking about the deaths of livestock. Actually, the red alert that we have in the next 6 months, I hope that human life will not
There is that proposal of an off-take.
Yes.
Is it happening? Animal off-take, because now everything is almost now going at a great price.
Yes. Everything, actually what happens right now, most of the animals that have survived are pushed, of course, at the risk of conflict. Some are moved across the borders to where they think there is still some few pasture. So to access that is not that easy. The ones that are left around the villages, they are very weak. So I don't know whether it will even give any nutritional value, but so that is one alternative that can be done. But it should have been done far much earlier, because the monitoring process through the institutions that does the drought monitoring has not given this warning now. It gave some time back.
Commissioner, I would imagine that your office must be a busy office right now.
Yes, we are busy, because as I've told you, we cover almost all sectors. Of course, we prioritize.
The northern part of Kenya, largely.
So we were busy with the conflict, and we ran and we intervened. We went to the necessary offices, we engaged, we said this is against human rights, it shouldn't be happening. Of course, interventions were put in place. Of course, we were not the only ones, but we gave our push, and we made the relevant statements and engaged the relevant officers, and interventions were put in place, and peace and stability has been restored. But the drought menace now is becoming a bigger challenge. People have no energy to fight anymore, but the survival of human is
Commissioner,
now
when you look at the SDGs, we have, healthcare, universal healthcare, food security, etc., part of SDG. But as we are, they are under serious threat because of the drought. Now, based on that, we have rains coming soon. And as a nation, we'll always talk about, let's do, rain preservation, rainwater, let's do this and that, but nothing happens. At what point will you now say as a country that, enough is enough, we have to take action for the next season?
Yes, as a country, I think we have come a long way in matters human rights. You remember the days when we didn't have, people were just being beaten, things were happening. Now social media,
Yes.
Enlightened population, so much has improved. Let's give ourselves credit where it is deserved.
And as a commission as well.
Yes,
as really fought for that.
Yes, so as a commission, our job is quite expansive, and we have powers to summon government officials or even other officials where we feel they have not done their job the way they should.
Violated.
Yes, those who are violated. We are the only government institution that takes government to court using government lawyers. We thank our government for that space.
Okay.
So like police brutality, neglect and abuse in healthcare and all that. And right now we are having universal healthcare projects and programs, which gives a bit of relief in healthcare management.
Yes.
And NHIF is also another aspect that is being strengthened. And so we like now in Marsabit, we are pushing and other marginalized counties for this during the red alert period of drought. We are trying to push for NHIF to cover most people because they can't even afford to pay their 500 shillings. Yeah. Yet diseases because of malnutrition are rampant.
Is it forthcoming?
Yeah, through the steering group, we are pushing for that so that more funds are committed to support NHIF cover. Yeah, so food, in terms of food security, looking, going forward, we should not depend on rain-fed agriculture.
Exactly.
Yeah, we should have, mega dams where irrigation can take
even
place.
The president said that he's planning to do 100 dams.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that's a good strategy. We need to put mega dams in place. And countries from which we import fruits, like Egypt, most of them are deserts. Like where I come from. Yeah. And they irrigate and they produce a lot for their own consumption and for export. And I don't see why, as a country, we can't do the same and turn our desert into greeneries. And be able to feed our people. Actually, it's a shame if a country can't feed its people and can't also and can't also respond to a disaster like we are experiencing now. So we hope, and I was encouraged to see the Office of the President seriously engaged right to the grassroots in terms of ensuring things are moving and moving fast. So let's hope and pray that...
Is there hope for this country from the face of a commission?
There is hope. I've told you we have come a long way. We have institutions like mine that is actually fearlessly and, confidently.
When you talk of KNCHR, we've had people, the likes of Senator Hassan Omar, who passed through that.
Yes. We still have the same kind of cause. We need also to change our strategy. Yes. We don't have to be. You don't have to be. It's not. Shouldn't have to be. We don't have to be in a conflict situation. Right. But diplomatically, consistently, and persistently. We have to engage duty bearers and point them out through our report, which even goes to UN, that we have intervened in this way and engage duty bearers for this change to occur in terms of human rights violation. But it hasn't happened. So I think I would want to encourage more diplomatic engagement and intervention. But the government also now has to realize we are dealing with an enlightened population. Exactly. We have more educated people who know their right.
Because and, 7 generations.
Yes, and part of our responsibility as a commission is working with the education institution through curriculums where we ensure that young children are exposed to awareness of their right early enough in their life through curriculum, through school curriculum. We're also working with universities to ensure they are university education covers human rights. Because long time ago, people come to university, that's when they hear human rights, and they start saying haki yetu.
Exactly.
They start jumping around with posters. But they should, we should train our young people to be aware of their rights early enough, and to be able to push for their rights.
Okay. I want us to talk about the issue of our friends, the international community. You know, it's a universal issue right now. The drought situation. The the skyrocketing kind of situation, food security. Everything is expensive. What is the international community saying at this particular situation? Of course, now I'm so sure you are in contact with our friends across the borders.
Yes, there are humanitarian agencies that are always in place to support where there is need. Like in Marsabit, one unfortunate incident is migrants from Ethiopia. I know that's not the only border where we are having migrants coming through, but in a very distressed situation, migrants are coming in, and they are completely, in distress. So the population to which they are coming is also distressed. They have nothing, and they are also coming with all their challenges. So the humanitarian agencies now, like UNHCR, Red Cross, and others coming into play to support the government. The government also, both the national and the county government, will also undertake their obligation of supporting with also civil society to support the local communities that is also in distress. But climate change is a universal challenge, and the earlier we address the issues of environmental degradation and other factors that has brought us where we are, the better. So, of course, the war in Ukraine has affected everything in the globe. It has affected everyone. And the traditional partners who are giving donations are no longer,
everybody's now gone back to their own spaces.
So they are no longer available as they should. So it's now for everybody to take care of their own issues. So that is why, as a country, we need to reflect and look at our own internal strength and look at our own challenges and strategize on the best way of overcoming our own issues.
Okay. Commissioner, I'm told you're running out of time, but I will have to ask you this on Marsabit. Is so close to your heart. Something in terms of human rights violation, the drought situation there, and as a citizen, how would you describe that in just one sentence? And what are you going to do next to just change the lives of people there?
I think Marsabit, as you have said, you've always had tragedy one after another.
Exactly.
I'm one of the victims. I lost my late husband in a peace mission.
Sorry for that.
Sorry for that. And the government has a duty and obligation to safeguard peace and security, and to also safeguard its borders, to guarantee peace and security. And also the drought situation like we're having now, it has happened. The government has capacity to predict drought and floods as they happen, not only for Marsabit, but the whole country. They have a picture of what projections are there. So we need to plan in advance, cut down on our corruption, index, and try to put more funds into putting things right for the marginalized and the vulnerable groups, like the majority population of the ASAL areas.
Okay. Now, and finally, I will have to ask you this one. There are 4 police officers who are now under police custody for the forceful disappearances, the extrajudicial killings, and I'm so sure as a commission, you're also directly in touch with this one. I don't know, what's your take on this?
Right to life is one key, is a key right of every individual. No one has the powers extrajudicially to take anybody's life.
And forcefully, exactly.
Yeah, and forcefully.
Yeah.
So I think with the right investigation, effectively, the government should pursue the matter. Yeah, as a commission, we'll add our voice to the rest of our stakeholders and partners that the rights of the people who have been affected is justice should be done. But of course, through proper investigation, the police also have their right. So we shouldn't just jump to conclusion. The police also have their rights. The victims also have their right. But with proper investigation and the effective justice system, we should be able to say never again.
Never again.
Yeah, we should never have.
When you look at the people who are accused, people who are directly on the front line, are the same people who are mandated to save lives.
Yes.
And when you look at, it was on yesterday's papers, the number of people who have died, 112 of them in the hands of police. That's according to IPOA and other investigative agencies. As Human Rights Commission, I don't know what is going to be your voice on this.
Yes, we also have the obligation to do research into all this.
Yes.
We also have our own report on most of these occurrences. So yeah, we need to get to the bottom of this and to be able to say never again.
Never again.
Because it's something that shouldn't have happened. Because the police has a duty to protect lives and property. And anything else is not within their code of conduct and responsibility.
Commissioner, your final words as you come to an end.
Yeah, I think my final word would be to the government that the current situation of drought in the country is very dire. It's not situation as usual, it is unusual. So the government should prepare. We are not even sure whether the next rain season will be...
Nobody's aware.
Nobody knows. Yeah, we don't know. So we should be more prepared. Of course, donors are not also as readily available as they used to be. So as a government, we need to take responsibility, actually put every other thing on the side, all the other developmental issues, and be able to focus on this to save life and the livelihood of Kenya.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Commissioner, thank you so much. Okay. I just believe that and hope that at the end of the day, all of us will have to get justice as far as drought and human rights are concerned.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming to the show. All right, we'll be speaking to Honorable Sara Bonaya, who is a commissioner with the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. We've just been talking matters to do with the drought situation, which is now ravaging the bigger part of the country based on the drought. And correctly put, many people are now at risk of losing their lives and livelihoods. All right, that's where we wrap it up. Let's take a break. When we come back, Doreen Arange has got an amazing story. This month has been World Cancer Awareness Month. Are you aware of your situation? All right, Doreen Arange has got more answers to that. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.